No one ever imagined that one day a piece of news would shake the football world so deeply that everything would change in a single moment. Diogo Jota, the player whose dreams were still unfinished, whose race was far from over, suddenly left this world, and no one felt that loss deeper than Cristiano Ronaldo. People say nothing can break Ronaldo, that he's the man who stands strong on every field, in every storm. But that day, the silence on his face said everything he couldn't. It was late, at night, Ronaldo was with his family in a private meeting when a single phone call turned his world upside down. He picked up the call on the other end. Just one sentence: Jota is gone. They say Ronaldo didn't speak for a few seconds. No question, no answer. The people sitting in the room couldn't understand what had happened. But they saw it in his eyes. Those eyes that had seen every victory now quietly filled with something no trophy could heal. Maybe in that moment, he remembered the message Jota had sent him just days before. Jota had wanted to meet him. Ronaldo hadn't ignored it, but he hadn't found the time either. And now, that time had turned into a lifetime of regret. Insiders say that right after that call, Ronaldo rang his private pilot. He said only one thing: "Get the jet ready. I'm coming." But the news from the hospital was clear. It was too late. Those eyes that still give millions hope on the field stayed quiet that night. People close to him say he locked himself in his room. He didn't talk to anyone. He didn't let anyone near him. He just stared at his phone, reading and rereading that last message from Jota. "When are we meeting? I need to tell you something, brother." That something will now remain unfinished forever. That night did something to Ronaldo. It changed something inside him. What promise did he make to himself that night? Did he know what Jota's dream really was? Did Jota really say anything in his final moments? Or is that just a story people want to believe? One thing's for sure, after that night, Ronaldo was never quite the same. The spark that the whole world saw in his eyes on the pitch now had a hollow space behind it. Who will fill that emptiness? Maybe him, maybe Jota's unfinished dream, maybe that secret promise only he truly knows. This is just the beginning. Jota is gone, but after his death, Ronaldo's silence has become the biggest secret of all. Some say he called Jota's family. Some say he put his hand on Jota's kids' heads and made a vow. But what's true? Only Ronaldo knows. And that promise he made to himself that night, is it just a dream or the start of something bigger? That question will pull you into what comes next, where that silent promise will shock everyone who ever thought they really knew. Cristiano Ronaldo. People close to Ronaldo say that after that night, something inside him just wouldn't settle. He canceled meetings, turned his phone off for everyone except a few trusted people, and spent hours alone staring at old photos. Some of those photos were with Jota, smiling, training, laughing together like brothers on the pitch. No one knows exactly when, but somewhere in those sleepless nights, Ronaldo decided he couldn't let this be just another tragedy everyone forgets. After a few days, a few whispers started spreading among close friends. Ronaldo had reached out to Jota's family in secret. It wasn't for the cameras. No interviews, no social media posts. Just Ronaldo, standing quietly at their door, late at night, when the world slept, so the world wouldn't turn it into headlines. Some say when he stood there, Jota's mother couldn't even look him in the eye. She didn't have to. One hug said everything. Witnesses, just a handful, say she broke down in his arms, whispering, "He looked up to you like an elder, brother." It's impossible to say what really happened inside that house that night. Some say Ronaldo sat down on the floor with Jota's kids and promised them something they couldn't even understand fully yet, that their father's dream would live on. No matter what. But what dream? That's the question that's eating up everyone's mind. No official statement came out. Not from Ronaldo, not from the family. But days later, when Ronaldo returned to training, everyone who saw him said the same thing. There was a different look in his eyes. It wasn't the fire people were used to. The fire that wanted goals, trophies, records. This time, it was something deeper. A man carrying a burden no one else could see. A promise, maybe even he didn't know how to keep yet, but one he had to find a way to honor. Behind closed doors, some insiders claim Ronaldo started making quiet calls. 2 old friends, 2 agents, 2 people in the football world who knew what it takes to build more than just a legacy on the field. He wanted to know how to turn someone's unfinished dream into something real. He wanted to do it all without noise, no press, no drama, no headlines until the moment was right. But the problem was, even Ronaldo didn't have all the answers. What exactly did Jota want to tell him that day? What did he mean when he wrote, "I need to tell you something, brother"? Some say Jota had plans for young players, kids who didn't have money, who didn't have a way out but had talent. He wanted to build something for them, but didn't know how to start. Maybe he wanted Ronaldo's help. Maybe he just wanted advice. But now, with Jota gone, all Ronaldo had was that unfinished sentence echoing in his mind. People closest to Ronaldo say he became obsessed with it. He went through old messages, old voice notes, anything Jota had ever said that could be a clue. It was like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. And every night, that same promise came back. He would not fail Jota, no matter what it cost him. But promises made in silence can be the loudest burdens a man can carry. And this promise was about to take Ronaldo somewhere even he wasn't prepared for. People started noticing strange things about Ronaldo in the weeks that followed. He still trained harder than anyone, still showed up first and left last, but those who looked closely could tell his mind was somewhere else. In interviews, he gave safe answers, smiled for the cameras, but the moment the lights turned off, he drifted back into that silence that only he knew how to hold. There were nights when he would sit alone in his massive house, looking at that one voice note from Jota he had saved long before, a note no one else had ever heard. Some say that voice note was nothing more than Jota laughing about a goal they'd celebrated together. But for Ronaldo, every second felt like Jota was right there, telling him he wasn't done yet. Inside his circle, whispers turned into real plans. He started asking trusted friends to help him track down the boys Jota used to train with in his free time. Most people didn't even know Jota did that, helping kids in his hometown who couldn't afford shoes but still kicked a ball. Every evening until the sun went down, Ronaldo wanted names, families, stories. He wanted to find every single one of them to make sure they knew their hero hadn't left them behind. Some people tried to stop him. His advisors said, "You can't fix everything. You have your own family, your own legacy." But Ronaldo's answer was always the same. "If I don't, who will?" Maybe for the first time in his life, the trophies, the fame, the millions in the bank, none of it felt big enough to repay what he owed his friend. Quietly, plans started forming. Ronaldo wanted to build something permanent, a football academy, not just with his name, but with Jota's. A place where kids who had nothing could learn, train, dream, and know that Jota's name would live forever through them. The idea wasn't about press releases or big fancy launches. It was about doing what Jota would have done himself if he'd had time. But deep down, something still didn't sit right with Ronaldo. He kept going back to that question. What did Jota want to tell me? What if he missed something bigger? Something beyond just an academy? Some nights, he would replay the last days before Jota died over and over in his mind. He remembered every word they'd exchanged, every moment that felt normal but maybe wasn't. Did Jota know something? Was he in trouble? Or was it really just an accident that took him away too soon? These questions started eating at him like poison. And as days turned to weeks, Ronaldo realized the promise he'd made wasn't just about building a school or funding some kid's dreams. It was about finding the whole truth. Even if that truth was darker than anyone expected, no one could have guessed that Ronaldo, the man known for goals, for glory, would soon find himself caught in a web of secrets that might cost him more than he ever thought he'd risk. But for him, the cost didn't matter. All that mattered was keeping his word to the friend who trusted him enough to whisper one unfinished sentence, and then never come back to finish it. As days turned 2 weeks, the people around Ronaldo saw a side of him they had never seen before. He wasn't just training, playing, or smiling for sponsors anymore. Behind every handshake and every forced smile was a man who couldn't sleep until he found the answers that kept him awake every night. He knew he had money, power, connections, but this was different. This wasn't about fame, this was about truth. This was about truth. Somewhere deep in Portugal, Ronaldo quietly traveled to places no paparazzi would follow. Small streets where Jota had grown up, muddy fields where he first kicked a ball, homes of the same kids Jota once trained for free. At night, Ronaldo sat with fathers who had nothing to give their sons except hope, mothers who still had photos of Jota on their cracked phone screens because he gave their boys a reason to believe they could be more than poor. He asked questions no one expected him to ask. Who was with Jota in his last days? Did anyone see anything? Did Jota ever talk about fears, about threats, about something that felt wrong? Some people opened up. Some turned their eyes away. One old coach whispered that Jota had been worried lately, but never said why. Another kid, no older than 15, said Jota once told him, "Never trust everyone who smiles at you when you're winning." These broken sentences were all Ronaldo had. He pieced them together like a detective with half the puzzle missing. Some nights, alone in his hotel room, he scribbled notes on scraps of paper, names, places, half-forgotten stories. If someone had seen him then, they wouldn't have seen a superstar. They would have seen a brother trying to carry the weight of someone else's unfinished life. It wasn't long before someone tried to warn him off. One late night, after visiting another old friend of Jota's, Ronaldo found a note slipped under his door. No signature. Just a single line. Stop asking questions. Let the dead rest. Any other man might have stopped. Ronaldo didn't. He kept the note in his pocket as a reminder that he was close. Close enough that someone was scared by day. The cameras still saw the legend, the goals, the chants, the roars of stadiums that adored him. But by night, he was something else, a man haunted by a voice that only he could still hear. Don't let my dream die, brother. He heard it everywhere in the echo of empty locker rooms. In the silent corners of his hotel rooms, in the quiet moments between matches when the whole world thought he was untouchable, sometimes he wondered if he was doing the right thing. He had family, kids of his own, people who depended on him, but every time that doubt crept in, he pictured Jota's kids, the same innocent eyes that would one day grow up and ask him, "Did you do everything you could for our father?" For Ronaldo, there could only be one answer. The deeper he dug, the more he found. Secrets buried under friendly smiles. Deals that never made sense. People who claimed to love Jota but disappeared the moment he was gone. And in the middle of it all, that same question. What had Jota been trying to say? What truth had he died with, half-spoken? Ronaldo was getting closer, but he didn't know that the closer he came to the truth, the more dangerous the promise he made that night would become. Some promises lift you up. Some promises bury you if you're not ready to carry their weight. And Ronaldo was about to find out which one this was.